Be a champion in yourself. Not tomorrow, not someday, today, because the truth is, life will not wait for you to feel ready. I remember a time when I almost gave up. Things weren't working. Effort didn't match results. And doubt started to grow. Quiet at first, then louder. It kept saying, maybe this isn't for you. And for a moment, I believed it. But then something inside me spoke louder. It said, you didn't come this far to quit. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. That moment changed me. I realized being a champion is not about winning all the time. It's about refusing to quit, refusing to settle, refusing to stop. A champion is built in the moments when no one is watching, when it's hard, when it's uncomfortable, when quitting feels easy. So let me remind you, you don't become a champion someday. You decide to become one right now. Being a champion is not about a title. It's not about trophies. It's not about applause. It's about a decision you make quietly within yourself. For things to change, you have to change. Because in 2026, the world is faster, more competitive, more distracting than ever. And the truth is, if you don't decide who you are, the world will decide for you. I remember a time when I was just going through the motions. Wake up, do the work, repeat. No real growth, no real progress, just movement without direction. And one day, I asked myself a simple question. Is this the best I can become? That question hit hard because deep down, I knew the answer. No, you are not paid for the hour. You are paid for the value you bring. And I realized something powerful. If I wanted more, I had to become more. Here's where most people get it wrong. They focus on results, but champions focus on identity. They don't say, I want to be successful. They say, I am the kind of person who does what it takes. That shift changes everything. Because when your identity changes, your actions follow. Being a champion is not one big moment. It's small decisions every day. Choosing discipline over comfort. Choosing growth over excuses. Choosing action over procrastination. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And those small choices compound over time. Let me be honest with you. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Endless scrolling, constant notifications, easy entertainment, and slowly, they steal your focus. They steal your time. They steal your potential. Don't let your habits make you. Make your habits. If you want to be a champion in 2026, you must control your attention. Because where your attention goes, your life follows. Most people wait to feel motivated. Champions don't. They act anyway. When they don't feel like it, they show up. When it's hard, they push forward. When progress is slow, they stay consistent. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. Let me tell you something important. Being a champion is not easy. There will be days when you doubt yourself, days when you feel tired, days when nothing works. But those days are the test. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Mental toughness is built when you keep going anyway. Here's something most people ignore. When you keep your promises to yourself, you build self-respect. And self-respect builds confidence. But when you break your own promises, you weaken yourself. The greatest value of discipline is what it makes of you. A champion respects their own standards, even when no one is watching. In 2026, comparison is everywhere. Social media shows you everyone's highlights, everyone's success, everyone's progress. And it's easy to feel behind. But champions don't compare. They focus on becoming better than they were yesterday. Don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, because your only competition is your potential. Let me ask you something. What is your standard? Do you quit when it's hard, Do you slow down when it's uncomfortable? Do you settle when you could push further? Or do you rise? Do you show up anyway? Do you push through? Because your standard determines your future. Being a champion in yourself is not about perfection. It's about commitment. A commitment to grow. A commitment to improve. A commitment to never quit on yourself. Success is predictable. It's not luck, and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. And that discipline begins with one decision: to become a champion within yourself. Let's talk about what truly separates the average from the exceptional. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even opportunity. It's mindset. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. And the person you become is shaped by how you think. I remember watching people who were ahead in life, stronger, more successful, more consistent. And I used to wonder, what do they have that I don't? Then I realized something. They didn't have something different. They thought differently. While others saw problems, they saw possibilities. While others saw obstacles, they saw opportunities. Most people think like this: this is too hard. This is not working. Maybe I should stop. But champions, they ask different questions. What can I learn from this? How can I improve? What's the next step? You must either modify your dreams or magnify your skills. They don't lower the goal. They raise themselves. Here's something important. Champions are not surprised by struggle. They expect it. They understand that anything valuable requires effort, time, and persistence. So when things get hard, they don't panic. They don't quit. They prepare. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Because difficulty is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to grow. Let me tell you something powerful. You don't control what happens to you, but you control what you think about it. And that changes everything. When something goes wrong, most people say, this is bad. Champions say, this is part of the process. Where focus goes, energy flows. If you focus on problems, you feel stuck. If you focus on solutions, you move forward. This is where most people fall short. They blame the situation, the economy, other people, bad luck. But champions, they take responsibility for their actions, for their results, for their future. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. They choose better environments, better habits, better decisions, because they understand their life is their responsibility. In 2026, focus is rare. Distractions are everywhere. Social media, notifications, endless entertainment. And most people lose themselves in it. But champions protect their focus. They don't chase everything. They commit to what matters. Don't major in minor things, because focus is power. And without it, nothing great gets built. This is the defining trait. The moment when most people quit, champions continue. Not because it's easy, but because they've decided quitting is not an option. They understand something others don't. Success often comes right after the point where most people give up. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, and discipline keeps them moving. When motivation disappears, here's something most people miss. Champions believe in themselves before the results show up, before the progress is visible, before the success arrives. They trust the process. If you don't believe in yourself, someone else will write your story, and that belief keeps them going. Let me ask you something. What standard are you living by? Do you think like someone who quits or someone who pushes forward? Because your thoughts become your actions, and your actions become your results. A champion is not made in the spotlight. They're made in the mind, in the way they think, in the way they respond, in the way they keep going, Success is predictable. It's not luck and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. And that discipline begins with your mindset. Think like a champion and you begin to live like one. Talking about becoming a champion is easy. Understanding the mindset is powerful. But transformation comes from action. So let me give you something practical. A challenge, not for a year, not for a month, just 11 days. Because sometimes a short commitment creates a lifelong change. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Why 11 days? You don't need forever to change direction. You need a decision and a short period of focused action. 11 days is enough to break old patterns, build awareness, prove something to yourself. And that proof is powerful because once you see what you're capable of, you can't go back. The rules of the challenge. For the next 11 days, you live like a champion. No excuses, no delays, no negotiations. You don't wait for motivation. You act with discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Day 1-3, control yourself. The first 3 days are about control. Control your actions. Control your time. Control your habits. Wake up with purpose. Do what you said you would do. Avoid distractions. This is where it starts. Not big success, but small discipline. Day 4-6, build momentum. Now something begins to happen. You feel stronger, more focused, more in control. So now you push a little harder. Work with intensity. Stay consistent. Do the uncomfortable tasks. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Because growth lives in discomfort. Day 7-9, face the resistance. This is where most people fail. Around this time, your mind starts to fight back. You feel tired. You feel bored. You feel like stopping. This is the test. The moment that separates the average from the champion. Don't let your feelings decide your future. You don't stop. You continue. Because champions don't quit when it gets hard. They expect it. Day 10-11, prove it to yourself. Now you're close. And something has changed. You think differently. You act differently. You carry yourself differently. These final days are not about effort. They're about identity. You are no longer trying to be disciplined. You are disciplined. The greatest value of discipline is what it makes of you. And what it's making you is stronger. The Daily Champion Checklist. Every day of the challenge, ask yourself, did I keep my word today? Did I act with discipline? Did I avoid distractions? Did I push when it was hard? If the answer is yes, you're becoming a champion. The review that changes everything. After 11 days, you stop and reflect. Look at yourself honestly. Are you more focused? Are you more disciplined? Are you more confident? You will see the difference. And more importantly, you will feel it. For things to change, you have to change. And now you have. What this challenge teaches you, this is the real lesson. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need motivation. You don't need permission. You need discipline. Because when you control your actions for 11 days, you realize something powerful. You've always had control. Anyone can start. Few continue. Champions finish. This one-day challenge is not about time. It's about proving to yourself that you don't quit. Success is predictable. It's not luck and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. Start today, not tomorrow, not later, today. Because the moment you commit is the moment you begin to become a champion in yourself. Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. You will fail. Not once, not occasionally, but many times plans will fall apart. Efforts will not pay off immediately. And sometimes, despite doing your best, you will still lose. That's reality. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. because the path to becoming a champion is not smooth. It is filled with setbacks. I remember one of my early failures. I worked hard, stayed consistent, did everything I thought was right, and still I failed. It didn't just hurt. It made me question everything. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should stop. Have you ever felt that? That moment when doubt becomes louder than belief? Here's what I learned. Falling is not the problem. Staying down is. Failure is not a permanent condition unless you make it so. Every champion you admire has fallen, but they made one different decision. They got back up. The hardest part of failure is not the event itself. It's what happens in your mind after. Doubt creeps in. Fear grows. Confidence shakes. And if you're not careful, those thoughts will stop you. Don't let your emotions make your decisions. Let your decisions manage your emotions. Because if you decide based on how you feel, you will quit. But if you decide based on your purpose, you will continue. Getting back up is not automatic. It's a decision. A conscious choice to say, I will try again. I will improve. I will not quit. For things to change, you have to change. You don't rise by waiting. You rise by acting. Every fall carries a lesson, but only if you're willing to see it. Ask yourself, what went wrong? What can I improve? What will I do differently next time? Every problem has within it the seed of an equal or greater opportunity. Failure is not the end. It's feedback. Let me tell you something powerful. Every time you rise after falling, you become stronger. Not just physically, not just mentally, but emotionally. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to believe, no matter what happens, I can handle it. Here's the difference between most people and champions. Most people fall and stop. Champions fall and grow. Most people fail and doubt themselves. Champions fail and improve themselves. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And discipline is what gets you back up when everything inside you wants to stay down. This is important. Failure is not who you are. It's something that happened. Too many people attach their identity to failure. I failed, so I am a failure. That's not true. You are not your past. You are your potential. Separate yourself from the result and focus on the process. There will be days when it's hard, days when progress is slow, days when nothing seems to work. But those are the days that matter most. Success is predictable. It's not luck and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. And discipline means showing up even after you've failed. Let me remind you, success is not about never falling. It's about never staying down. Every time you rise, you move closer. Every time you try again, you improve. Every time you refuse to quit, you become stronger. You will fall. That's not the question. The question is, will you rise? Will you learn? Will you grow? Will you continue? Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Because every champion you admire became who they are by getting back up again and again. And so can you. At the beginning of your journey, you had a vision, a picture in your mind of who you wanted to become. Stronger, better, more disciplined, more successful. But somewhere along the way, life got busy. Distractions took over. Doubt crept in. And slowly, you forgot. You forgot your goals. You forgot your standards. You forgot the person you once dreamed of becoming. For things to change, you have to change. And sometimes, the first change you need is to remember. Let me tell you something simple, but powerful. Champions don't stay strong by accident. They remind themselves every single day why they started, what they want, who they are becoming. Because without reminders, you drift, you lose focus, you lose direction. Either you run the day or the day runs you. And reminding yourself, puts you back in control. I remember that moment. There was a time when I almost settled. I was doing okay, not failing, but not growing either. And one day I asked myself, is this who I said I would become? That question hit hard because I knew the truth. I had lowered my standards. I had become comfortable. I had stopped pushing. And in that moment, I made a decision to remind myself every single day. Think about this. The person you want to become is watching you right now, watching your actions, watching your discipline, watching your choices, and asking one question. Are you becoming me or moving away from me? Don't let your past hold you back. Let your future pull you forward. Every decision you make either builds that future or delays it. Champions don't rely on memory. They build systems, simple reminders that keep them focused. Write down your goals. Read them every morning. Visualize the person you want to become. Repeat your standards daily. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. These small actions keep your mind aligned with your purpose. Let me ask you something. Have you lowered your standards? Settling for less effort? Accepting average results? Making excuses instead of progress? Be honest. Because champions don't live average lives. They raise their standards again and again. The greatest value of discipline is what it makes of you. And what it makes you is someone who refuses to settle. This is where everything comes together. Discipline, mindset, resilience, consistency. All of it leads to one thing. Becoming the person you once promised yourself you would be. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Because the moment you take responsibility is the moment your life changes. Let me be direct with you. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a decision. A decision to stop drifting. A decision to stop delaying. A decision to stop quitting. Success is predictable. It's not luck, and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline begins when excuses end. At this level, it's no longer about motivation. It's about identity. You don't say, I hope I don't quit. You say, I am not someone who quits. That belief changes everything. Because when quitting is no longer an option, progress becomes inevitable. Remember who you wanted to be. Remember the vision. Remember the promise. Remember the standard. And most importantly, remind yourself daily. For things to change, you have to change. Because when you stay aligned with your purpose, when you act with discipline, when you refuse to quit, you don't just chase success. You become the person who was meant to achieve it. And that is how you become a true champion in yourself. So let me leave you with this. You were not born to quit. You were born to grow, to fight, to become more. Life will test you, push you, challenge you in ways you didn't expect. But remember, it's not the fall that defines you. It's the rise. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Every day, remind yourself who you wanted to be, what you promised yourself, why you started, and then act like it. No excuses, no delays, no quitting. Success is predictable. It's not luck and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. So stay disciplined, stay focused, stay committed, because the moment you decide that quitting is no longer an option is the moment you become unstoppable. Now go out there and be the champion you were always meant to be.